Go ahead and just open the meeting so that you know the meeting is being live streamed and will be available back on our site when we're done. This is an open public meeting posted with the Texas Open Meetings Act as required by law. So just make sure we get all of those pieces out of the way. As we open up, I want to take this a little bit and do a couple of quick introductions of who we have online. If you will, I know your screens look different than mine. I'm just going to go around and I'll call you and ask you if you'll tell us who you are and what you do. Brian Allen, you're at the top.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Allen. I'm the Director for Security and Emergency Management for Galena Park I.S.D.
Dr. Gardea.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Gardea. I'm the principal at Galena City Elementary.
All right. Tom Ehlers.
I'm Tom Ehlers. I'm the Fire Chief and Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator for the City of Galena Park.
All right. Yadi Martinez. Tell us who you are.
I'm Yadi Martinez. I am Brian Allen's secretary.
All right. Lon Squires.
So I'm Lon Squires. I'm the city manager and emergency coordinator for the city of Galena City. I also chair North Channel LEPC.
All right. Ida.
I'm Ida Rocha. I am a parent and volunteer for Galena Park I.S.D.
And one of our best advocates. Thank you. George.
My name's George Bunick. I'm the Director of Public Safety and Homeland Security for City of Houston.
All right. Chief Sanchez.
Yes, Chief Chris Sanchez with Galena Park Police Department, currently the new chief.
Glad to have you this morning. David.
Yes, I'm David Wade. I'm an industrial liaison for the Harris County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. I'm also the executive administrator for the Greater Harris County LEPC.
Thank you. Mr. Sanchez.
My name is and I'm a new school board trustee at Galena Park I.S.D.
All right. Sergeant Williams.
Good morning. I'm Sergeant Williams with the Harris County Sheriff Department. And awesome. I have the one and only Deputy Guidry here as well.
Oh, good to see you, Guidry.
Good morning.
Glad you're here with us.
Thank you.
All right. Lieutenant Duffy, introduce yourself. Tell them what you do.
Lieutenant Duffy, Harris County Precinct 3, assigned to the Galena Park School District contract.
All right. Brishan Thompson, you'll see on. Brishan is our communications person who is live streaming this. Christina Clark.
Good morning. I'm Christina Clark. I'm a planner with Harris County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, and I'm the lead to the school district for our office.
Awesome. Glad to have you. And I believe on phone, is that Jack Giacona?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell them who you are.
Jack Giacona. I'm lieutenant with Harris County Precinct 2. I oversee the south side of Galena Park ISD school contract.
Awesome. All right. Well, just again, I wanted to welcome everybody here. We appreciate our community partners. And we really do enjoy the good relationship that we have with all of our community partners, from Galena Park to Galena City, to the city of Houston, to Harris County. And we know it takes that whole village to keep our kids safe. I want to go ahead and get through the meeting. I value your time today. At any point you have input, you are a member of this committee, flag, raise your hand, do something, let us know. We want your input. We'll stop at some places to ask for that, but if you have something we need to hear, please jump in. Don't be bashful. We're at the point in our agenda to talk about public comments or citizen participation. Ms. Martinez, you've checked the web. Do we have any public comments or citizen participation?
No, not at this time.
All right. Thank you so much. You should have received a copy of the minutes in an email that I sent out before today. I'll also drop a copy of them in the chat box so that if anybody doesn't have them and you want them, they're available. But I will ask, if you've had an opportunity to read those and see those, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from last January? David, was that a motion? I saw your hand.
No, I'm trying to get on my phone in this one.
All right.
Sorry about that.
I need some brave soul to make a motion here. There we go. Dr. Gardea. There's a motion. Do I have a second? Lon, did I see you? All right.
I second.
All right. So we have several seconds, which is good. If there's no discussion, I will ask you just if you'll raise your hand where we can see it or give me a sign. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I see those. Are there any opposed? Okay, so the minutes for the January 23rd, 2020 meeting have been approved. So let's get into the meat of this meeting to talk about some of the things that are going on in Galena Park I.S.D. to kind of bring you up to speed, and then also to get some feedback from you. Brian Allen introduced himself as the Director of Security and Emergency Management. I'm going to ask him to run through a lot of these for us. Early last year, we were awarded a school safety and security grant through TEA, and with just over $360,000 to put towards school security. The easiest way to describe this grant is we could buy stuff with it. You know, it wasn't for personnel, it wasn't for anything that way, but we could buy things to make security better in our school district. We did a needs assessment on what we thought would work for us. And to talk a little bit about how we do that, we talk about layered security to secure the perimeter of the property, then to secure the envelope of the building, and then to secure classrooms inside the building. So we went with that. And our greatest need that we came up with was fencing. So I'm going to ask Brian if he'll share, I'll share the screen, or Brian, you can hit this and let him talk about what we're doing with this grant that's primarily fencing, but not just that. So
Okay.
you should be, let's see. There you go, Brian. You should be free to share.
All right. All right, good morning again. I'm truly thankful that we were awarded this grant. One of my jobs is to basically look out for the safety and security of all the campuses. And over the years, I think one of our weaknesses was fencing at several of our campuses that are in high volume traffic areas. And so when this grant became available, it was awesome. It was like a gift from God that we could use this money to help with securing the perimeter of some of these campuses. And we'll walk through these real quick. The fencing projects that we are focusing on are Cimarron Elementary, Green Valley, Havard, MacArthur, Normandy Crossing, North Shore Elementary, Purple Sage, Tice, Williamson, Cobb, and North Shore 9. Some of these had smaller areas to have fenced in, and then some were the entire campuses. If you guys have been by Havard Elementary on the corner of Wallaceville and Castlegory, that's one of our first projects that's been completed, and that was one of the main ones that I was really focused on because it's in such a busy intersection, and there was no fencing whatsoever, and our students were playing out on the playground, and anybody could walk by or drive by and harm those. So that has now been completed. That was one of our first projects with the grant that has been completed. The other ones are also in progress right now. One thing about Havard, and I'm so glad we have this in place already. We did have a break-in. Two young people broke into the building at Havard Elementary and set the alarm off. And once they set the alarm off, they tried to escape, but they escaped into the closed, fenced-in new area of the school. So they were able to, our security personnel was able to apprehend those two that broke into the building. And then I got an email Thursday from the campus in regards to a student, a runner, who tried to escape the building, and he had nowhere to go because he was fenced in our new fenced-in areas. So as you ride throughout the district, you'll see some of these projects that are underway. With the fencing, Cobb is almost finished. We're waiting on some hardware, but that was another one that had no fencing whatsoever, and it's on Uvalde and developed in Highway 90 at least. So these are some of the fencing projects that we utilized from that are being able to take place because of the grant that we received. Here's a couple of pictures, and you can probably barely see them. This is Havard. You can see it's fenced in. loose. Okay, well, I think my pictures have frozen. I guess I'll just stop and won't look at pictures. Also, what we are working on was in the minutes from the last meeting in regards to our security vestibules. I had pictures of those as well. North Shore Senior High, North Shore 9th grade, Purple Sage and Green Valley. Those projects have been completed, and we are extremely excited about those projects as well, simply because now our office staff can basically determine who's coming into the building. And this is at all of our campuses now. Those were some of the campuses that didn't have those vestibules in place, and now they are in place. If you guys get a chance, please go look at those vestibules at the Senior High 9th grade, Green Valley, and Purple Sage. And I'm singing praises for the 9th grade campus because they have a whole new look at that building. And I worked there for 19 years. So that's my baby. And I'm excited that vestibule is in place. And the safety of those students at that campus has been enhanced because of it. And we are working on the fencing project there now. Moving on, Brian, I'll go ahead and go into the district audit report.
Yeah, let's touch a little bit. I want to go back to the safety and security grant. I'm going to unshare you or if you'll hit, I'm going to unshare you for a minute so we can see each other. So that school safety and security grant, the lion's share is going to fencing. We are also doing some safety bollards. We have some campuses like North Shore Senior High, Galena Park Middle is one, and North Shore Elementary that you can drive up to the front and you could drive a vehicle right up the front sidewalk into the building. So part of the grant is to put safety bollards that keeps a vehicle from getting to the front doors of those buildings. So that was one piece of that. And then another piece of that safety grant was to provide more radios for our individual campuses so that we have intercommunication with them. Those are the projects that are looking. And on top of everything Brian listed, it looks like we're going to come in well under budget. So we'll be able to go back to the drawing board and do some more safety enhancements at a few more campuses as we do that. I wanted to stop there for a second and just kind of see if any of the members have any other comments or are there some other perceived needs that you would go, hey, can you spend money on this or have you thought about that? So I'm just we'll give it a second here to see if anybody wants to jump in.
Hey, Brian, I got a question. What was the title of the grant and where's the money coming from?
The grant came out of TEA, the state of Texas and TEA, and it's called the School Safety and Security Grant. Okay. And George, it was a per capita based on the number of kids we had and just over $360,000.
Okay.
So
that's good because I oversee all the Homeland Security grants for really the 5-county region. Harris County is one of our big partners.
Nice.
And you just mentioned radios under the UASI Urban Area Security Initiative. We do fund radios for interoperable communications, and especially for something as bad as, like a school type shooting where, we certainly need all the radio communications. We need common channels, stuff like that, but it looks like you're already headed in the right direction. 360,000 is a pretty good, it's a large grant in the big scheme of things. So
yeah, and and free is my favorite word. I'm just going to tell you. So
absolutely.
Nice. Guys, any other thoughts or have you seen any other places that you would go, hey, I'd like y'all to look at this or think about this for security?
No, I don't have anything right now. I guess I would need to check the schools over here in Galena Park and just, if I see anything, I can bring it to your attention later on.
Yeah, and Chris, you know, we would welcome that. You know, Chris has worked in our school, so he has an understanding of what goes on. But yeah, you know that anytime you see something, let us know and we'll address that. Lon, did you have something?
Something with being here, I don't know that the funding model will fit the grant because it's a lease kind of thing, and you'd have to negotiate something different. But we've started using the flock cameras for about 3 months now, and it's been amazing for us. We've got 12 cameras literally ringing our city. If somebody drives past it, we take your license plate and compare it to 12 different databases, NCIC being the primary. But for the schools, I was thinking if you could catch them coming in, just a camera coming onto campus, because you have very few entry points into a campus. You really wouldn't want the NCIC database. You pick what you scan for, but you'd love to be able to scan for things like the predator list and things along those lines, registered sex offenders. And I know you from time to time, I would imagine that you get lists of people that there's a restraining order against a parent or something along those lines, or for whatever reason, you're looking for certain people to keep off campus. You can have a pick list, a hot list that you generate. And if that vehicle shows up anywhere on that or any of your campuses, you get hit on that by email. And it goes to any law enforcement agency that you give it permission to go to, and then of course your own administration. So it's really been a nice thing. We've already caught, I think we recovered like 6 or 7 stolen vehicles, stopped one attempted robbery before it happened. It's a nice system.
Thank you for that. Lieutenant Longrig had told me you put the cameras in, and I've got the invitation. I'd like to just come see them in operation and see how that works. So I like the forward thinking of that. So Brian, that's one of the things we want to kind of add to our list, and we'll go by and see what Jason has to offer. Good. Anything else?
Yeah, I think my concern is the demand field, the kids going and jumping the fence and going into the demand field and stuff. Someone might get hurt. I've heard of kids actually getting hurt jumping the fence. I know I've called you a couple of times reporting that there was kids inside the demand field during the weekends and stuff like that. So I'm really, really concerned about that. You know, kids just jumping.
All right.
And playing sports and stuff.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. So Brian covered our security vestibules very well. And I would invite you to come out and see the ones at Galena Park High School and North Shore Senior came out great. David Pearson, who joined us, is our principal at North Shore 9th grade. You know, and he got the total new entrance to his building. He and Mr. Robbins, I just saw pop up on the screen. Both are at North Shore 9. We changed the front entrance to that, created a really nice vestibule to come into, and can't say enough about that. You know, Brian Allen's asked for that for I don't know how many years, but it really changes. And what it also does is it lets us secure where our kids pass. That was an open area in the past. So that's helped us a lot there. All right, so if there's nothing else there, we're going to move forward. I've asked Brian to talk about our district audit report update, what's required by law, and then let you know where we stand with that. So Brian, I'll give you the floor.
All right, the district audit report, it's a report that's due every 3 years to the Texas School Safety Center. The 3-year cycle just ended in the fall of 2020. Because of COVID, there was an extended deadline. It's usually by September 15th. They extended it to November 15th. Our district audit report for Galena Park I.S.D. was sent to our school board in October for approval. Now, what happens with the district audit report is basically a package of information collected on all of our campuses and facilities over the 3-year process. So for each campus, it's probably right at 500 questions that have to be answered. Intrusion drills, tabletops, things like that. All of this has to be completed within the 3-year cycle. So every year, as the cycle begins, because we're just beginning again for this school year, the new cycle, 3-year cycle, I'll be focusing on the first year, which is this current year, all of our elementary school audits. So this year is elementary. Our second year in the audit cycle, I'll be focused on the middle and high schools, completing all those audits. And then the last year of the audit cycle, I focus on facilities and stadiums, natatorium. So then we compile all this information together, have to compile an executive summary, and that summary is then sent to the school. So we sent it off. The final one was sent off in October to the Texas School Safety Center with all of our documentation that's required. So I'm about to start with the elementary audits, finalizing some contracts with that, and then we'll get started with those. We've sent out, I will be sending out the entrance conference questions. Entrance conference questions before the audit begins. It helps me in determining what our needs are in the district, because one of the questions is asking, what are some of the things that you need on campus, and the campus have to answer those in regards to safety. So those questions will be going out, and based on that, and then based on my walkthrough with the audit, I can determine the needs. And that's one of the ways that I determined that we needed fencing at those campuses and bollards at those campuses as well, and radios. So that's the district audit report. Like I stated, it's a 3-year cycle, and we're just starting over with year 1 of the new 3-year cycle right now. And I think that's about it in regards to the district audit report and the upcoming audits for our elementary campuses for this school year.
Okay. All right, Brian, let's go ahead and let's cover, well, let's ask any questions. Anybody have questions on those district audits? What happens, what we do with them, anything else? All right, so Brian, let's move on. Talk about tabletops and what we're doing campus safety.
All right. We're required to complete safety drills each semester based on Texas School Safety Center's recommendations. In the fall, we had a late start. The district started school late, but we would still require each campus to complete those safety drills. And then in January, when we returned from the winter break, they did those safety drills again. And the drills are hold, secure used to be, or formerly called lockout, lockdown, evacuation, and shelter in place. So each of the campuses are required to get those drills complete. And my requirement, or the Galena Park I.S.D's requirement, is for them to get those done within the first 10 days of the start of each semester. So they did complete those, and then they submitted after action reports in regards to those drills, documenting the completion of them. Tabletop drills, because of COVID, normally I would go out and conduct tabletop drills at each of the campuses, but because of the COVID situation and social distancing, basically I prepared tabletops for all the campuses, but it's an online form that they are responsible for completing amongst themselves at the campuses. And I think about 14 of the campuses have already completed the tabletop. It's giving them the scenarios, but as a campus, they're walking through them via their Zoom or Google Meets link and having the discussions and completing the 2 scenarios that are given to them this school year. It's a little different, but we had to make adjustments because we're trying to continue to maintain social distancing during this pandemic. So that's it for me in regards to tabletops and our safety drills.
And the idea behind our tabletops is just to make the campus walk through their steps, talk about what they're doing in that process. And one interesting thing this last week, we got a call, one of our local pipeline companies that runs behind Purple Sage, they were doing their tabletop on their own, and Cloverly Fire Department was with them. And they were talking about what they would do with the schools. And our fire chief said, yeah, that's not quite right. So the discussion ensued, and what I loved was the company said, hey, do you think the school district would want to participate in our tabletop? Well, we all know the answer to that. Absolutely. Any chance we can do that with our partners or with our business partners, we want to do that. So we're in the process with them. It's Targa Pipeline is who it is. And They have said absolutely. So we're in the process of setting up tabletop with them where, again, we can bring the business and bring our school people and our first responders together. And again, come up with solutions that make sense. And so that would not have happened had we not had our community partnership in place with Cloverleaf Fire Department. And that's, again, what comes back. So those are invaluable. I can't say that enough, especially with who I see on this call. You know the value of it from the things we've been able to work together. So I'm going to put Brian on the spot again to talk about Harris County Fire Marshal's Office. You know, we have fire inspections every year, and I'll say it for him because we say it all the time. Our fire inspections are really not about complying with the law. You know, we tell our folks it's about keeping our kids safe, you know, period. You know, we will do whatever we have to do to keep them safe. And that's what we make sure that our fire departments, our fire inspectors understand. You know, I don't want anybody to cut me slack. I want to know my kids are safe, you know, all the time in our schools. You know, and we address those issues whenever we have to with that. But because of COVID, it looks different this year. So Brian, tell them how we handle that.
All right, because of COVID, basically Harris County Fire Marshal's Office said, hey, we're not coming. Here's the reports. Do self-reporting this year. And that's what we did. Myself and Scott Walden, the electrician, we walked the campuses that fall in the jurisdiction of Harris County Fire Marshal's Office, which is 16 campuses. And we had to complete the reports and send those reports in. If there were any of the reports that needed special attention, so to speak, the inspector came out and walked those campuses. So we had about 4 campuses that I did want her to come out and walk, and she did. A couple things that are kind of new based on the recommendations of the inspector this year. We are being required to treat all of our classroom flags throughout the jurisdiction of this county, but we're going to make sure all the schools within the district complete this task. So I have a couple campuses that are my quote unquote guinea pig campuses that have volunteered to start treating the flag so I can determine how much of the flame retardant spray to order. But we are going to be required to get those completed as soon as possible. So something different. And then also another big thing, and I've talked to the assistant soups in regards to some classrooms throughout the district in regards to 50% of wall spaces being covered within the classroom and 20% in the hallways. Some of the things that the inspector pointed out to us this year that we definitely need to address, which has always been addressed, but it definitely needs to be enforced on the campuses, maintaining the guidelines that are set forth by them. So it's been a busy year in regards to completing all those reports for the Harris County Fire Marshal's Office, but it's also been an opportunity for me to get out and actually walk all the campuses to answer all the questions that are required to get completed for them. So it's been good.
All right. Chief Ehlers is on here, you know, and he's our Galena Park guy. And Tom, I was going to see if you wanted to say anything with that. You know, Tom walks our campuses, does the inspections, and I get a call that says, man, Brian, I don't want to be the bad guy here. You know, and we've always made it clear that, you know, it's not being the bad guy, it's keeping our kids safe. But Tom, I wanted to give you a chance to say something if you wanted.
No, I think you guys do a great job, you know, responding to any issues that we have. You know, the high school's got a lot of construction going on, so I try to get over there as much as I can, make sure the construction company's doing what they're supposed to be doing. There's a lot of roof work and stuff going on right now, so making sure the roofers have their fire extinguishers and everything. So I'm not afraid to climb a ladder and get on the roof. So I've already had a few conversations with the roofer about safety and stuff. So you know, and you know me, Brian, if there's any issues, you know, I'll call you guys. But you know, we've gotten a lot accomplished in the past couple of years, I think, as far as getting the other schools here in Galena Park fixed up and everything. So, you know, it is a never-ending battle for sure. I don't know if I'm going to make you flame treat your flags here in Galena Park.
I'm gonna require all the campuses to do it, not just the Harris County schools.
Yeah, I know.
Make
I
them
know
all
how.
completed.
I know how it is. So I appreciate you're going to do it. So, but I just wanted to let you know I wasn't going to put that requirement on you.
They're all gonna get it done. So.
And so everybody knows, if you haven't had the realization, we deal with several jurisdictions: Galena Park, Jacinta City, City of Houston, Harris County. When it comes to fire, we have Galena Park, Jacinta City, City of Houston. We have Cloverleaf Fire Department. We have Channel Views Fire Department. And again, that's why we talk about, having the relationships with our partners out there is so important. And it's not adversarial. Whether it's the fire inspector in Houston, Jacinta City, or Harris County, or whatever, when they call, they're taking care of my kids, and that's the bottom line for it. And we appreciate that. And truth be told, there's a couple times we've called the fire marshal and said, would you please go look at this campus, to make sure. Our principals don't like that, but I sleep well at night knowing my kids are taken care of.
Exactly.
Tom, we appreciate everything you do for us on that end, and thank you.
No
and I'm going to say this just as a kind of an aside with that. When we do active shooter training, we train with our first responder partners, with our local police jurisdictions, but also with our fire and EMS responders. And again, the training is good, but letting guys get to know each other and recognize each other in that environment sure helps when you have the real thing happen. But and our local jurisdictions are very good. Galena Park and Jacinta City, especially, about coming and training with us and being a part of that. So we appreciate that. I think number 10 is the last big thing on our agenda. And I wanted to just talk about what security looks like during the time of COVID, because it's very different. Brian told you we still ran our emergency drills for the spring semester. One of the things that we've seen, the reduced number of students on campus, has a definite impact that's positive. We have less traffic. And if you don't know, we're running about 50% virtual, 50% in face-to-face. But less traffic in the morning is less problems coming and going. It's less traffic in our hallways with our kids. So it has this reverberating effect all the way through. Our officers are still on the campuses. We're working the campuses. We're investigating cyber incidents and threats a little more because we have more kids online. Prior to this year, we didn't hand out devices to kids. Now, 20,000 of my 22,000 kids have a Chromebook in their hands. So we're monitoring what they're doing. We're checking cyber threats that way, investigating those. And then the officers are helping us with stolen Chromebooks or lost Chromebooks or ones that didn't come back when somebody moved. So I didn't want to be the Chromebook police, but we are. And the officers are doing a great job of that with us. Our officers make home visits for a variety of reasons. We do address checks to make sure they live there. We do attendance checks. And in the time of COVID, that means, hey, if this kid's not logging in, we're not seeing them participate. So our officers get packets and they make those checks. And I can tell you, since the beginning of the school year, we've made over 2,200 home visits and checks of our students for one reason or another. So we keep them busy with that. I wanted to talk a little bit about citations and arrests. And I'll say this very plain and say it very loud. We do not issue citations to students. The only thing we can legally issue a ticket to a student for is a traffic offense, period. That doesn't mean we don't file charges if they're warranted, but we don't write tickets to kids, like they used to do. I will tell you with that, the other thing is, and I think this is a large part in due to COVID, we have had 0 arrests this school year. Now, I may have just jinxed us, but since the opening of school, we have had 0 arrests on our campuses of kids. I expect when we're fully back, that will change a little bit, but our numbers are very low to start with, which I think is good. One of the benefits of having officers on campuses is that they have resources, that they can get a kid to a counselor or get a kid to someone else that can help them rather than just, have an arrest charge. So our kids wind up getting something, I think, a little better and more breaks that way. But, I'm hoping we can keep the zero arrest thing going. That makes me happy. We'd rather than be here, be learning than dealing with the other issues that we have with it. So those are the last big things we have in our agenda. I'm down to number 11, member observations, concerns, expectations. So this is your chance to give us feedback. What do you like? What do you not like? What can we do different, or any suggestions you want to give to us? All right, I'm going to go going once. Chief?
Oh, no, I'm good right now.
All right. Okay, guys. So with no more comments, we'll get down to giving you the next meeting. But I do want to say this. You are all very valued members of this committee. I appreciate your time coming out this morning. But I will also tell you, safety doesn't end when we close this Zoom. If you have comments, concerns, suggestions, if you have gripes, I'll take those. We just want to know what we need to do a better job of keeping our kids safe. You are welcome to email us. You're welcome to call us anytime you want. And again, it's about, taking care of the kids in our community. And we take that seriously. We've got almost 23,000 kids in this school district. And I tell people all the time, when school's in session, Galena Park High, North Shore High, they're full functioning cities. They have all the dynamics of a city, and the only difference is most of my citizens are not over 18 years old. But our job is to take care of them. Parents entrust us with the most valuable thing they have, and my goal is to make sure every day they go home safe, and that every day they have a safe place to come and learn. So again, I appreciate your time. If you will mark your calendars, I will send you an invite. Our next meeting will be May 18th. That's a Tuesday. We're going to stay with the 9 a.m. time. And we are assuming at this point that it will still be a Zoom meeting. And hopefully next year we can get back to some face-to-face. But May 18th, 9 a.m., I'll send you an invite to hold the place for that. And then we will look forward to coming back with some more good reports and some good things then. All right, I'm going to give you one last chance. Anybody have any comments before we close out today?
No, I don't.
All right. Okay.
Brian, this is David.
Yes.
Yeah, just real quick. I'm sure there's some people on this call that's wondering why Harris County Industrial Liaison is a part of this group. I just want to say that I feel like I'm a part of the group, first of all, because Chief Clements invited me to join, and I appreciate that, to get involved. Second of all, my role as industrial liaison is to respond to industrial incidents. And my role was created, I'll try not to get in the weeds with this, but my role was created by industry to help with emergency communications back to elected officials and officials such as yourselves. So there's a lot of people, ITC, one thing ITC taught us is that just because the incident is on the south side of the Houston Ship Channel doesn't mean it's not going to impact Galena Park, Jacinto City, Channelview, the Galena Park Independent School District. So as a responder in our department, my role, my job is to get that information to you. So I have force multipliers even on this committee. Lon Squires, for example, Tom Ellers, that's another example. They're on my distribution. And, if something's going on and I know that your areas are being impacted, I communicate with those two guys. Also, Christina, as a part of our department, when I get on scene, I provide updates to our on-call system. That information is shared internally with our department. So Christina is one of those who receives that information, those updates, and has connections with you guys and can provide that information to you as well. So we have force multipliers on getting that information out. where the Galena Park Independent School District schools might be impacted. I think, Brian, Brian Clements, aren't you on our distribution for electronic notifications, the
Yes.
Notify system?
Yes.
Okay. And Brian Allen, you're on it also?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. I thought you guys had been added. So you're seeing those notifications as well as soon as they come out. So you're getting an early notice when there are situations. But again, I'll be watching when I respond to incidents. I'll be looking at the downwind effects, who are being impacted, and by all means, I'll bring Tom and Lon in the loop with emergency communications if the north side of the channel is being impacted. They also get get notifications just so they have situational awareness, so that they can kind of be watching any incident that's occurring. So hopefully that's something I can bring to this committee. Also, I as a responder to those chemical incidents, I see where other school districts are impacted. So I can maybe pick up some lessons learned where schools, for example, ITC, Deer Park Independent School District, impacted for a week with closure because of potential for chemical impacts. But I can maybe bring back to this committee any lessons learned from those other districts that are impacted that might be of value.
Yeah, David, I appreciate that. And guys, so you know, those partnerships, again, I can't overemphasize that we participate in Galena Park's LEPC, their local emergency planning commission, the North Channel LEPC, the Greater Houston one with David that's shared that. And again, it just creates these information channels. And he's right. We get texts all night long, all week long. Most of it's minor, but if there's something major, we're getting it in real time with everybody else. And that used to not happen. And that's only happened because of the relationship through David's office and some of our other partners. So again, it's just building those, and we're going to continue to build those relationships as we go. David, thank you. Appreciate your time this morning being here.
You're welcome. Thanks again for the invite.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Then I'm going to adjourn this. David Pearson.
Just real quick, guys, I just wanted, Mr. Robbins and I have talked about how
David, you went mute on us.
Okay, I just want to tell y'all, we really appreciate the safety committee because of I've been here 30 plus years in this district, and I really appreciate you guys making that front entrance for us, because that's really has helped us out with our parents and our safety. And I know Sergeant Duffy or Lieutenant Duffy, he's been here for so long, and I guess Mr. Allen and I back and forth and everything. But make a long story short, we just thank you for that. Our fence line is going to be over there by which I'm getting ready to install for that grant. It's just going to be amazing because anybody, I mean, it's going to be just a really nice thing. And we really appreciate it because it's really for our community, and we appreciate you guys.
Thank you, David. All right. We stand adjourned. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day, guys.
You too. Thank you.
Take care. See you.